So I think then I'm between either Force It again or try out this throwing run that we discussed earlier. For the throwing run, again, as kind of briefly touched upon, I'm tempted to go with one of the big boys here, just so that we have access to large rocks, because that is such a fun aspect of the game once you get those up and running. Between Troll and Ogre, I mean, Troll at least has a slightly better backup option. I mean, just in terms of solid choices, Minotaur's probably up there. Hill Orcs, I don't actually know their aptitudes for throwing, but they're generally pretty good at most martial abilities, so it'd make a certain amount of sense at least. I think either Troll or Ogre. Is there a reason why I'd want to go Ogre? Because the advantage of Trolls is that we get the regeneration as well, which especially in the early dungeon might be the one and only thing keeping us in one piece. I'm gonna try Ogre. We're gonna give it a shot here. And then we could start out as Brigand potentially. I think is maybe what we'll go with here. You get a bit of throwing train to start off, and then these Curari darts and poison darts might be the leverage we need, the advantage that we can garner in the early game to try and survive long enough. So Ogre, just for flavor purposes, Troll would be the choice if I was dead set on a win. It's nice to see that we're very much of the same mind there, because yes, we're going with the silly option here, but I agree with that logic 100%. Let's go with Brigand, shall we? And fortunately, this one's a little bit easier to come up with something. We'll go in as Throwgre. And okie dokie. Immediately turn most of this stuff off. Short blades, no shot. Throwing, the one tough thing about throwing is that we have no guarantee for ammunition. I think we might have to hope to go with like Okawaru in order to keep those up, but it probably realistically means that we just need a backup. So I would hope for like maces and flails, potentially try to take advantage. Ooh, Spectral Goblin. Try and take advantage of some more ogre specific things. No, actually, you're probably fine now that I think about it. For a moment, I was way more concerned about that than I should have been. This altar belongs to Zin, Ellie, or Ash. I mean, Zin and Ellie, we could abandon if we wanted. It's tough. Where does that land in my internal quest here? Because if I feel like maybe you touched on this a couple times, but in case you haven't heard, another one of my arbitrary rules that I came up with was a refusal to abandon any deity in this game. Does it count as abandonment if they're okay with it? Or is that more of like a mutual breakup? In which case it's just healthier for both parties, and really you're probably both happier after the fact. I think it might stray a little too close to the line there. So for the moment, we're gonna leave that alone, especially since I would probably lean towards Oka, just so we can keep our throwing resource pile looking pretty good. Also didn't do many of my usual opening routine here, so let's make sure to do so, especially getting that game seed from the morgue file, because this may just be the most incredibly lucky run I've ever been a part of. Hey, DCSS? Doesn't that sound fun? Doesn't that sound lovely? It's been on friendly terms, not quite mutual, but not quite a falling out. Exactly. Yeah, I think that's actually probably more fair, seeing as how Ellie's in and the Shining One didn't get any say in the matter, and we chose to break it off, so I like that. That's a much better analogy for the situation. But yes, a friendly parting regardless. Oh my gosh, the stealthiest ogre on this side of Zot. Just creep up on that Quokka without a care in the world. Fantastic. And you know what? Make it 2 for 2. My stealth isn't on by accident, right? It's not. I'm just that sneaky, I guess. very light-footed. But okie dokie, we'll go pure strength, I believe, for throwing is the way to go about it. And so far, it's about to say so good, but this is where things get a little bit more interesting. In fact, let's hold off on fighting you for at least a tiny bit here. Probably will come across you sooner rather than later. But who knows, might find a bit of a game changer in the interim. In fact, even just getting an enchanted dagger with a brand on it does seem helpful. Same enchantment as our dagger that we start with on the brigand background, but bit of draining action for your trouble. That's fantastic. Every time you play throwing, you have to go Nemelex to cosplay Gambit. You never on a throw and run. Or you've never won a throw and run, full disclosure. I do like that, though. I am a fan of the thematic approaches in the game. Okay, an adder turns out no problem whatsoever, but hey, that could have just been a bit of confirmation bias at work. Nothing saying the first encounter would have gone anything like that, and in fact, it could have been just horrifying. So, that's what we'll tell ourselves, to at least keep in the mindset of playing intelligently, playing a little bit more safely than we otherwise might do. And perfect. Oh my gosh, look, everyone's hanging out here on D3. Lovely. Hello, Jessica. Bit of haste on you. Shouldn't be anything we can't deal with. I guess I should check what your robe looked like. Looks like just a +0 though, so that's fine. Holy moly. Right. Okay, I should be a little bit careful. Early Orc Priest is a nightmare. Fortunately, they walk into us face first, so that's something, but I still could very easily die here. Do I just swing it? Swing for the fences? And just hope we don't miss? Or swing for the fences in a different way, and instead blindly chug potions and hope that one of them has a beneficial effect on us in the long run? Let's just go for the more old school swing, shall we? I punched something. Why am I punching? Use the dagger, Throwgre. You fool. Oh gosh. Okay, well it ends up being much more drawn out of an encounter than I was expecting when I made those that bold decision to just keep gunning forward, head down. But does fortunately all work out. Just wanted to double check that there weren't any fancy robes there. Does not look to be the case. Oh shoot, Terrence woke up. You son of a gun. I mean, should still be fine, but I was hoping to get a bit of fancy backstabby action going. Hello, Natasha. I will leave you alone. Sorry to almost disturb your slumber. Hopefully nothing too critical down that way, because we will never be journeying in that direction. Oh, what am I doing? Tab fighting into an orc horde when there's also a priest involved, and we're this early on in the run. Whoops. Potion of Brilliance. I mean, definitely need it with some of the decisions that I've been making so far. But there we go. Okay. At least take care of our priest friend. Then we'll bring just this one orc downstairs with us. Perfect. Oh, never a doubt in my mind, of course. And let's see, who's available? Oka? No? No Oka? Okay, well in that case, maybe we do a bit of Soundlust cosplay here. Bit of Gambit action? Does throwing cards count as throwing? Is that maybe part of the argument as well? Let's try it out. I have a hard time like choosing Nemelex. Nemelex falls into a similar category of a lot of gods in this game where there's not like a very clear-cut, oh, this type of character should play this god. And so I find myself not playing them very often. It's like Nemelex, Ashe, even Hep is on that list. So more than happy to get a bit of an excuse to use them early, especially since they are a pretty fun god. All in all, I do really like the card abilities that they give. But yeah, we were windmill swinging, forgot to even use the dagger a few times. You know, sometimes in your anger and haste, these things happen. But yeah, you don't know how, or you don't know Nemelex is supposed to be used. Yeah, I'd say they're pretty, like, just solid utility across the board. It's the optimal setup for Nemelex. I guess we can think about this for just a brief moment here. So you have some good, like, destructive abilities, which normally if my god gives me destructive abilities, that lends itself in my mind to like a melee character who has a hard time finding anything in that same vein. So, you know, generally your AoE kind of sucks as a melee character. Well, this is a way around that. You get some range damage, you get some AoE damage from the destruction deck. As for like, the utility deck is just good for everyone, I feel. The escape deck. I'm trying to remember the actual names of these instead of what my brain just decides to call them. And then, wait, destruction deck. Oh, escape and summoning, right? Summoning is its own deck. I was kind of grouping that into escape as this utility thing. Summoning, pretty solid across the board, I think. Escape maybe is in a similar boat, just pretty good. Velocity, Tomb, Exile, Cloud, and Elixir. Yeah, maybe the only kind of flavor that I can argue for is that destruction very much fills a weakness that all like melee characters have. But again, that's not a super hard stance. I think that Nem is pretty solid across the board for any type of character at the end of the day. Let's head to this stairwell as that there next. Oh no, this is... Never mind. I refuse to hurt my sweet, sweet cat, Natasha, so I guess we're just gonna have to deal with them. Oof. Closed door sucks, but okay. I guess this is my life now. What we can do is switch back to Curari, hope that it hits, which it does, fortunately enough. I'm also kind of secretly hoping that I didn't accidentally mulch it. Probably should have taken some more steps away from our friend there while they were slowed by the Curari, trying to get a bit of a nice buffer between us for when their berserk came through. But hey, regardless, got there eventually, and I'm hoping that we're getting closer and closer to being able to rely a little bit more on our throwing ability. I mean, we're still training it, even though it's not seen an exceptional amount of usage so far. But yeah, early days, it's kind of hard to justify it when we don't have the ammunition required. So that's fine. And we're really hoping to find shoals on this character. I mean, I guess we probably need some kind of backup. Ooh, we get a Faith Amulet with Resist Fire. Normally, Faith on Nemelex, not really necessary. But it gives fire resistance, which is pretty solid from an amulet across, or regardless. Let's put on a Faith Amulet. I think it means that we get cards more often, I want to say. Will now gift us Dex Power as I gain Piety. Oh, heck yeah. Okay, so we're starting to take off here. But yeah, if throwing doesn't work out, specifically if we just consistently find ourselves with a lack of throwing materials, then we probably want to have some kind of backup. Don't know what the best play for that might be. I guess as an ogre, I mean, technically it'd be something like transmutation magic, but that feels a little bit too far from the kind of explicit goal of this run, which is to have some fun with a bit of a less usual approach to the game here, specifically playing a throwing ogre character. So with that in mind, maybe it is just to be a bit melee focused. I guess we did briefly touch upon earlier the idea of a club. Okay, I have to not die. Perfect. Step 1, achieved successfully. So there is the giant spiked club. Takes 22 maces and flails to get working, but I've never really fully explored this. It's something that I've read about a lot. I've heard a lot of others' anecdotal experiences, and it seems like such a fun run idea, but I've just never gone around to it myself, so maybe today's the day. There's no time like the present. I guess as long as I don't accidentally do something stupid and like die to a phantom suddenly. Perfect. Does not seem to be the case, at least not yet. There's still some microscopic hope in this world. So that is fantastic. Okie dokie. I guess when would I want to start training that? Probably earlier rather than later. Unfortunately, we're not doing great in the throwing department in general here. Let's swap back over here. Perfect. Sentinels mark forms on us. Well, at least we're almost on the floor, so that's not exactly going to be the be-all end-all of our time here. Love to see it. Oh gosh, nope. In fact, 2 stairwells come down to that area. That is rough stuff. Surrounded by dart slugs and electric eels sounds like a very quick and easy way to meet a sudden demise. But okay, we do manage to find the sewer at the very least. This could be good for the throwing side. This is one that has these little like kobold rooms. Then definitely could get a decent number of throwables from here. Dagger of Speed is interesting. It's probably not great on this character in particular. Should also try out throwing rocks at a point where they can actually do something. At least against kind of dungeon level 1 enemies. Yes? They do always mulch, which I kind of forgot about. So even our rocks will, in the long run, be a fairly limited supply of items. But short term, pretty fun stuff for sure. At least gets us a little bit into that flavor zone, a bit into the jive that we'll hopefully be proceeding with for the entirety of the run, or the majority of the run, I should say, more accurately. There we go. Okay, back ourselves into a little bit of a corner here. Fantastic. At least a little bit of a safer approach. Guess still 46 stones. Am I like picking them up as fast as I'm using them, or am I just not actually paying very good attention as to our total count there? Both completely possible interpretation of the events that have transpired. But okie dokie. Managed to make it through there in one piece. Oh my gosh. Phantom brings us into the hellhole where we said we'd never return. Hellhole whence we may never return, even if we do find ourselves there again. How did we end up there? Is it anywhere the Phantom can see that we can get blinked to? I assumed it was anywhere I could see. And maybe there was a little sneak peek. But okay, let's just take some precautions here. Say nay to all of that area. Oh gosh, Moxin could be a bit of a struggle. A bit closer than I'd like, but that's fine. Eels on D6 is horrifying, exactly. Especially, yes, surrounded by multiple ranged enemies like we saw there. Not exactly ideal, to say the least. Oh gosh, but that turns out to be pretty much the entire floor. Ishka. Yeah, you know, normally we'd at least have like a Wand of Flame, which is a one-stop shop for taking care of electric eels. not so much at this point in our lives. Oh, right, cards. That's a great point. Oh, Nem. How quickly I forget. So we have 3 escape, 3 destruction, and a summoning. So it's starting to get there. I think what I might do, just bite the bullet on that one. Oh, hello, Maggie. And I'm mesmerized. Thanks, Maggie. Appreciate it. Love everything you do here, my friend. But okay, let's poison you. Acid Dragon Scales, I would actually love to have for myself. In fact, let's try a destruction card, shall we? Vitriol is pretty huge. Can definitely throw that Maggie's way immediately. Try to just stack up enough poison. Wait, the bolt of electricity hit me? Did you hit me from out of sight range, or you... No, you're just barely in sight range. You must be. Whoopsie daisies, regardless. Let's probably play this a little more carefully. We draw Orb. Can launch that at Maggie. How much damage can you do, my friend? 3d12 with your bolt of fire is rough. In fact, if you decide to do that, I'm probably just dead. But as long as you don't. No, I won't rely on that, I don't think, and will instead just go for the orb directly into Maggie's face. Wonderful. And then I guess now would be a good opportunity to start training a little bit of maces and flails. Probably just periodically flip that on and off here. Won't go all the way to 22 in one fell swoop, I wouldn't think. Could always be pleasantly surprised though, so I won't speak much to it. And then still want to train. Let's try and keep throwing on the forefront here. Kind of play this almost like it is a cosplay challenge where we're forced to keep our most relevant skill on the up and up. And a bit of invocations would actually be really nice as well, seeing as how we'll probably be relying on Nem a decent amount moving forward. Let's actually draw escape. Just slows enemies, right. 13 health is not great. How much health? You deal up to like 6 damage, if even that. 2d3, 6 damage indeed. Oh gosh, let's not take shots from our eel friend though. This we already knew to be true, and I'm just silly. Holy moly, but there we go. We got our first armor upgrade at least. Can swap up to the Acid Dragon Scales for Maggie. So that is fantastic. And, geez, more electric eels. Oh boy, to what do I owe the pleasure? Thanks, DCSS. You shouldn't have. So sweet. So thoughtful. Jeez Louise. Well, let's at least survive this floor if we can, shall we? Ooh, we got a bunch of cards though. 3 escape, 6 destruction, 2 summoning. Thank you, Nem. I appreciate it, my friend. I was gonna call you my dealer friend, but that has different connotations. Okay, I've kind of done this to myself. Let's actually back off once again here. Drop more exclusions till we have more exclusion than we have regular floor almost at this point, but that's fine. And perfect. I'm actually kind of curious. Regular clubs easier than to use than GSCs, giant spiked clubs. They are. Only 18 training for you, my friend. So let's pick you up. At least as a potential option for the future, shall we? And hello, my sleep-inducing mushroom friend. Oh, there's Okawaru. Too little, too late. You missed your chance, and now Nemelex will get the glory and honor of being the champion's support, I guess. No, that's probably not the way that the gods of DCSS would want you to talk about them, but guess too late now. Words have already escaped our mouth as such. Oh gosh, hello my invisible friend. Fortunately, not too much to deal with. It's weird, I have like a mental image of the Sky Beasts being a little bit more of a factor in the game in general. And I think it largely comes from when I first started the game as but a baby youngin. And it very much was a scary enemy because it was one of the few that I constantly ran into. I mean, additionally, it definitely sits on the forefront of my mind because back then you could, I mean, there were chunks, enemy chunks, where you could cut them into meat, and specifically, there were chunks that had special effects, and for the Sky Beasts, they dropped mutagenic chunks, and so it was a way to play mutation roulette super early on in the dungeon, and I pretty much did so at every opportunity that was handed my way back then. So that's probably the biggest reason, but still a bit of a strange one. Amulet of Faith will give you a ton of cards, you imagine? I believe that is how it works, yeah. Okay, but we get Vitriol to start off. I guess we could just triple draw, try to take care of all these freaking bees. Otherwise, this is potentially going to be an issue for me. I guess 44% chance to hit with my throwing is, yeah, unfortunately worse than my dagger. So we're just gonna hope that we make it through, which we do manage. Fantastic. Yeah, the mutation gamble was so fun, right? No, I love that so much. I was panicked not knowing if it was a Sky Beast or an Unseen Horror. I would say that I was on the same page, but again, I don't think I even got to the point of seeing Unseen Horrors back then. I was not very good at the game when I first started. Which, you know, I pretend that the largest factor in that was because I was a bit of a goofball. You know, I always played very thematic runs, I didn't play any kind of meta, and instead just kind of rolled with it and flew by the seat of my pants. But large amount of that is just me taking deep puffs of the sweet copium. Okay, let's focus down these sons of guns real quick. Beautiful. And more cards. Thank you, Nem. I appreciate it. More bees as well. To who do I owe the pleasure there? Who do I send my thanks to? Jeez Louise. Let's draw Escape, and I get Cloud, so that's not great. Nem, if we could do some work here. There we go, finally. Kill our bee friends. Oh, and now we've gained the attention of a warg. Love it. Let's go summoning. Holy, those summons are super out of depth. Well, thank you, I appreciate it. Thank you, friends, for taking care of all of the heavy lifting here. Man, I love that card. Should remember, is it called like the Archer or something? What are you actually called, my friend? The bees. Somewhere in here, the Rangers. So fancy version of archers, yeah, got there. Scrub, or you chalk up your scrub level currently to that. You play too thematically instead of optimal. Right, I do think it's definitely a factor. Because, I mean, you can see it just watching, like, the top players of the game and how consistently they play. And thematic, well, in many ways, is consistent, I guess, in its own sense. Still not quite to the same level, I feel. Who had the Constriction Wand? Oh, it's the freaking Centaurs. They're still doing it, you son of a gun. 14 health, I think, is still plenty. Oh, 12 is slightly less, but still maybe plenty. Let's play it safe. We'll go with some destruction here. Launch pure vitriol at our horsey friend. And oh gosh, not the bees. Again, very much a bit of a theme going on here today. Well, pain I thought was piercing, but it did not blast through our friends. Oh gosh, okay, well that's a bit more damage. We'll instead reach in one more time. I mean, that is kind of the ideal spell to get against a horde of bees. Nice AoE. Holy moly. Well, we're definitely running just a little bit over time to what I expected to be playing here this evening. So let's try to make our way towards wrapping up just a smidge here. As much as I'd love to keep going, and Throwgre has been a lot of fun so far, unfortunately, just have a few things need to wrap up before the official end of the weekend comes to pass. Normally would be scared to death of that Hornet, but even just getting a bit of poison damage off the rip does allow us to feel a little bit more comfortable about our chances. Even if we do get paralyzed, probably going down in just a few ticks. So that is fantastic. Throw the seed in the garbage and all its bees all the way down, right? Or pick it up and play it with the gargoyle. I don't think seeds are tied to species. I don't think that changes it, but again, I'm not super knowledgeable in this stuff, so I could be just talking out my butt and completely incorrect. But great run for, I was going to say a gargoyle, then I realized that we've also had a lot of orc priests, so maybe just like ghouls and mummies. Come get your fill. It's a good one for you. It's actually, yeah, lots of bees, lots of scorpions, lots of adders. It's been nothing if not consistent. It's been a very venomous, very toxic run so far, which are not the same thing, but colloquially, I think we can agree to exchange poisonous, venomous, and toxic all the time. But okie dokie. Well, again, it's tough because I'm so tempted to just keep going. I'm having a good time. But unfortunately, I think I should listen to that tiny little voice in the back of my brain that's telling me to finish up now so that we have a bit of time to chat with whoever we send a raid off to and hang out for a bit and still get everything done before heading off for the evening. But hey, this was a super fun one. Had a good time. Thank you all for joining us in here. I always appreciate the support, whether that be, chatting alongside with us here, lurking in the background, or hey, if you're watching us down the road through VODs or YouTube, then thank you for joining us. Thank you to each and every one of you. I hope that you're enjoying it still. I know the deaths don't get me down, but I'm always slightly concerned that when I kill off a promising character, there's just someone out there that's going to be like, literally unwatchable, I'm never touching this again. Which, fair enough, and totally go for it if that's you. But I hope, regardless of my ability to kill off even the most promising of adventurers, that you're still having as good of a time as I am. Because I definitely do enjoy our time here together on Sundays. Nice stream, fun to catch them live. Enjoy the rest of my weekend. Thank you, Soundless. I appreciate it. You as well, and I hope the next week also goes fantastically. Thank you for joining and chatting with us here today. And thanks for the throwing suggestion too. I think this will be a fun run once it fully gets off the ground and running. Our lovely Gambit Ogre going on. But of course, to finish things off here today, we'll do the usual thing. Try to find somebody to send a raid off to. We'll take a quick peek to see who is live and who we can all go say hello to. Maybe if my laptop ever recovers. There we go. It's trying. It's chugging. It's working on it. Also, though, holy moly, for the first time in a long time, I have literally no one online. Are you okay, Twitch? Are we just bugged, or is this true facts about the pistol shrimp? Huh. Well, I don't have anyone to send a raid off to. Again, very rare. I feel like usually we're usually inundated by choices and I can't decide who to send off to. So Interesting. It's Father's Day. You know, that makes a lot of sense. I have the excuse that my dad is out at a cabin with some family members where I am just not able to reach him whatsoever. But that makes a lot of sense. Seems to be Quiet Twitch Day. Yeah, that tracks. That tracks. Well, yes, if anyone has a suggestion for who we should send a raid off to, we definitely can try it out and say hello. I guess one thing we can always go to here is Dungeon Crawl Stone Soup. Just me. But yes, we can always take a suggestion, but otherwise I'm also totally fine to just let everyone go, release you upon the world, and you can all go off to watch wherever you wish. I will say selfishly, I'm almost tempted to do so because there's not that little bit of time where I'm trying to not be a complete ass and say hello and be a functioning member of the community. And instead I'll just be able to jump right back into finishing off what I need for the day. But yeah, we'll just start rolling through our goodbye here. If any of you really want to show your support for a friend, a streamer that you enjoy, let me know and we can send a raid off that way. Otherwise, we will just say goodbye here. And yeah, looking forward to next week, returning to Throwgre and hopefully making some good progress. Maybe getting our lovely Gambit character through with a victory. It would be nice after having two like really kind of traditional solid runs and losing them when I had no reason to do so, to then flip that on its head and take a throwing ogre that has no real redeeming qualities and push through, show this dungeon what's what. Sounds like it could be lovely. But of course, that will have to wait for next week here. And if I take a win, that'd be great. You can steal everything and get a throw-in under my belt. We'll do our best. Even if we do die, it's just a good indication as to what not to do on your side of things. So, you know, it's a learning experience regardless. But of course, also regardless. See, in there, it wasn't even the same sentence, but even just having the regardlesses butting up against each other, my brain is like, don't do that. But regardless of my inability to function as a normal human being when it comes to communication, I do of course hope that you're having a great morning, afternoon, evening, whatever time it is for you. And yeah, I definitely hope to see you again next week when we jump right back into it. Just remember, folks, we never, even for a moment, even with our most promising characters and even with our most aspiring characters, didn't have it. I'll see you next week. See ya.